All right, can everybody hear me now? Please. Oh, finally. Finally. Hello everybody. Look, every single time I start an AMA, it's the same thing. It takes me like rejoining 5 times to be able to speak, but thankfully I managed to make it work just on time. So hello everybody. Lovely to have you here. It's amazing to be hosting yet another AMA. Um, Let me know if the connection is bad or if you don't hear me well, please. I'm on 5G, so I'm trying to I'm trying to make it work. Um, right, so we have 145 people in the audience. So welcome everybody. Please settle in. Um, Lovely to see those of you that are always here in the AMAs, but also welcome to everybody who's new. Um, no, I'm not trying to flex with a 5G. I'm just trying to make this AMA work, guys. Yes, fasten your seatbelts. We have an AMA in which I wanted to take the chance to gather a bunch of the people from the team and talk a little bit about like the roadmap, what's happening with IO, what is IO's vision, what is the milestones. So the way that this AMA is going to be structured today is that we're going to be solving some of your most commonly and frequently asked questions, which is what we usually do, right, in the AMAs. So we're going to be kicking off with some of these frequently asked questions, and then we're going to use a little bit of time at the end um, to allow some members of the team to share with you what are the future steps, what we're preparing, what is the vision, and what is the direction that IONET is headed in. So I see Mr. Tori Green is here. Welcome, Tori. How are you today? How's it
I'm
going?
doing well. Hello, everyone. Great to see you again.
Hey, Tori. Awesome to have you here as always. I think we have a couple of people from the team also trying to join, so I'm just gonna let them join. Um, there we go. We have Bill. Perfect. Awesome. So I think we're all here pretty much. Milan just dropped out, but I'm pretty sure he's just gonna uh, drop back in at any time. So let's get it kick-started. Let's get started. Um, right. So as I mentioned earlier, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be focusing a little bit on solving your questions, which are mostly about staking. They're mostly about reconciliation of tokens and stuff like that, right? And a lot of you have been asking for a long time for IONET to provide a little bit more information about where they're headed, what is the direction, what are the next steps, what are the milestones, what are we trying to achieve, and stuff like that, right? So we're going to be talking a little bit about that in detail at the end of the AMA. So stay tuned for the end of the AMA, please. We always have cool things coming at the end of every AMA, so stay tuned, please. Um, so let's get started with some of the most frequently asked questions. I think the most asked question of all times, apart from when staking, which was a very frequently asked question when staking was not live yet, is about the reconciliation, right? So a lot of people were talking about the 1.8 million reconciliation, what is going to happen with it. And we hear you, every week we have these question forms. Sometimes we're not able to answer all of your questions. So always feel free to just tag a team member or to wait until the question forms are out so that you can fill them in. But this one was the most asked question. So, what is happening with a 1.8 million IO reconciliation for the season 3 workers? So I think Bill can give us a little bit more details about this, but the consensus is that it will be distributed towards the end of August, and there will be an announcement very soon about it. So, Bill, if you have any more details that you would like to tell the community, please go ahead.
Yeah, I just got off the call with verifying with the rest of the team and some of the people who are responsible for negotiating the reclaims. So the total amount of spoofed is calculated to be less than 1 million because there were actually real GPUs mixed in those. So we got back some of tokens, and then the foundation would like to honor the original promise of 1.8 to adjust everybody's ROI expectations. So the 1.8 will be calculated among the GPU devices that will participate in season 3 will be together as one airdrop. Now, the exact detail rules is rather than making so we don't have repeat, they will be published in an announcement to saying who, where, when, how on the claim side. But yes, this will be going out together in one batch in the with others July earnings. Just like our original release in July 1st, right? There will be the block reward and the season 3 will be together, so that will let everybody save on some gas fees while we have less like airdrop to manage. So yes, one airdrop is coming.
Sounds good. Sounds good. That's always something that's very exciting for the community for sure. So, guys, quick summary. You know, the spoofed rewards were less than 1 million, but the team is still committing to redistributing that 1.8 million, and an announcement is coming very, very soon. So stay tuned as always to the announcement channels. That's where we're always releasing them. And you will get that reconciliation very, very soon. So don't worry, guys. All right, so aside from this token reconciliation that a lot of the people were talking about, there were also a lot of questions about block rewards and staking and the mechanics of it again, which is normal since staking went live not that long ago, right? And people are still trying to figure out how things work. So one person is asking, when will it be possible to transfer the earned tokens to a wallet? For example, when you earn block rewards, when can those tokens be transferred? So when will the lock be taken away? Gaurav, maybe you can provide us a little bit more detail about this.
Hi, everyone. So as we discussed last time, the date for the airdrop will be 25th. The mechanics of that would be following. We have figured out at least 5 to 10% of people who were trying to spoof. So for the remaining 90% of the rewards, they will see their rewards on 25th. For the remaining people who will be marked suspicious, they will get a month for them to prove themselves that like they were not. And people who will be able to prove, they will get their respective rewards, which is between 5 to 10% of the overall airdrop. They will get their rewards effective immediately within that month. And for people who will not be able to prove that they were good, their rewards will be redistributed in the remaining community and the end of September. So again, timeline 25th of this month, the airdrop will happen. We have internally we have seen 5 to 10% of people who are suspicious. For the remaining 90%, they will get it on 25th. For remaining 5 to 10% people, airdrop people, they will get a month to prove themselves. Whoever proves on whichever date, they will get the airdrop effective immediately. For remaining people, the tokens will be redistributed in the community by the end of September. That's how the timeline and steps would be going forward.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for the details. So in case someone missed it, someone new joined or anything, it will be, so you will receive the block rewards as an airdrop. And as soon as you receive the rewards, then you can just have them in your wallet, right? There was another question regarding the block rewards, but it's also related to the redistribution, right? So a lot of people were asking, hey, you know, these fake GPUs and CPUs that you guys have seen within the past couple of weeks, they also perhaps earn block rewards. So will these block rewards from these fake devices, are they going to be burned, or will the block rewards be redistributed to any deserving devices? Gaurav, if you have some details about this, that would be awesome.
They'll be redistributed.
Right. There you go. Loud and clear and simple. They will be redistributed, guys. Right, awesome. So let's move to a different topic for the questions. I can see that a lot of you in the channel are also talking a little bit about burning, and this is something that the community is kind of curious about, right? The token and the tokenomics and what's going to happen. So the first question that a lot of people want to know is about burning. What is happening right now with burning mechanisms? Are there any burning mechanisms in place, or are there any plans for burning mechanisms in the near future? This is something that perhaps Tori, you can give us some insight about. I think you're muted. There we. Oh, or maybe like some audio issues. But if anyone other than Tori can answer, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you
All right.
now, loud and
Perfect,
clear.
perfect, yeah. I think I was muted. So yeah, we definitely have burning planned. It's on the roadmap, and actually one thing, and I apologize because the page is actually kind of difficult to navigate to. The token is held at the foundation, so all of the tokenomics are on the foundation website, which is iog.net. But if you go to docs.iog.net dash docs dash io tokenomics, let me see. I don't know if someone can throw this in the chat. We have a very, very detailed breakdown of our tokenomics. It talks about our supply, our inflation rates, our burn, and it gives a very detailed overview of the burn mechanism. This has been on here for months, actually. We've always planned to burn. We basically burn revenue. But I think that is something, it's sort of difficult to find from the IONET website. You have to go into our docs page and then you'll see IO Coin. But I would heavily encourage all the community members to read that if you want to know more about the projected burn.
Makes sense. I think, yeah, perhaps there was a little bit of confusion with like the websites and stuff like that. So you guys know now where you need to go if you want to have a little look at the tokenomics. I think this is more of a suggestion rather than a question, but some people were asking or suggesting about, for example, payments that are done in USDC, right? So imagine that a payment is done in USDC instead of IO for a cluster. Would that USDC, or could that USDC be used to buy IO behind the scenes, for example, which creates buy pressure? And then maybe that IO can be burned. If not, are there any plans to do so, or is this something that is in consideration right now?
Yeah,
What do
when
you guys
staking
think?
is live, sorry, when this is live, it's effectively going to be a buy and burn. Revenue from the protocol will be used to buy back IO and burn. And the actual like percentages and numbers are all detailed in that page.
Amazing. There we go, guys. So this is something that a lot of you were excited about, right? Because burning is always good, especially if there's a buyback and burn, right? You have that buy pressure, and it's good for tokenomics. So, guys, once again, I encourage you to go to the docs and read the tokenomics, become really acquainted with them. But these are just some short answers for you guys, just in the AMA right now. And yes, there we go. So someone provided the link for the IO tokenomics, so just feel free to click on it. Cool. So that was most of the questions that we had about block rewards, staking, tokenomics, things that are a little bit more technical. But I think that something that's very exciting that I know that the team, would love to share a little bit more about is a roadmap or a direction. As previously mentioned, there's a roadmap coming very soon, like a 3-month roadmap timeline coming soon. I think a couple of people were asking about that in the chat. So there you have your answer. There's a roadmap coming very, very soon. But I think that taking into account that we have all of the team members here, that we can provide you a little bit more detail as to what is being built, what we're thinking about doing, what we're doing, the steps and stuff like that. So let's start with more of a vision, right? So let's talk a little bit about what the long-term vision for IONET is in the context of Web3, right? Web3 is a very fast evolving place. So how does IONET envision itself to position itself within this, disruptive space? And basically, what is the landscape for the project over the next 5 years? So is there basically the question is there a clear direction or objective for IONET within Web3 in the short and long term? Tori, maybe you're probably the best man to answer this question, to talk a little bit about this.
Great question. I would say no. And what do I mean by that? What do I say when I mean no? There's no place for IONET in Web3. I'm sort of half joking, but we're going to expand beyond Web3. And I think that's the whole point, and one of the reasons I got into this. If you look at some of the problems with, like, I've been in Web3 for 7 years, and I think that it's some of these economic models are the best we've ever seen, especially with depends and decentralized compute networks. I mean, quite frankly, they're just much better alternatives to centralized compute. There's tons of reason for this. They provide access to massive computing power. They're more scalable, potentially better performance, censorship resistance, cost efficiency, all that. But one of the problems with most depend projects is I think that they're effectively solutions looking for problems. So, like a lot of the other things out there, like, depends for wireless access or depends for storage. Well, these aren't major problems. I think the thing that makes IONET really unique is we're solving arguably the largest problem in the world, which is access to GPU compute. Now, I think everyone here knows this, but AI is consuming massive amounts of GPU compute. The requirements are doubling every 3.4 months. Training costs are increasing 3,100% per year. Some of these new LLMs are like require 10 times more processing power. And, the centralized cloud just can't keep up with that. And so I really think the magic of IONET is I do think we're going to be the first ones to cross the chasm. We're going to be the first Web3 project, if we execute well, to basically reach mass penetration. So, when you ask, is there a place for us in Web3? It's like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard, like, 100 years ago, companies used to have like chief electricity officers. Like Web3 is not going to be a thing. It's just going to be like a better way of doing things. And so our competition is not Web3. Our competition is Web2, and that's who we're trying to take down.
Solid answer. It is true that it's sometimes difficult for a company to kind of survive a bear market, right? When it's very focused on Web3. But when you have a lot of Web2 ability to go on forward, then you really can survive that bear market simply because you have revenue, you have things that are going on for you. And it's really good that IONET is positioning itself also within Web2, right? And not just Web3. So awesome answer. Thank you so much for that, Tori.
And that's, Marina, it's like I see us as a Web2 project with a token, quite frankly. And we're going to release this sort of community letter, State of the Union. But when I look at what, like, that's the vision. The vision is to disrupt this $2.5 trillion market. How are we going to get there? It's build a real business, right? And it's build a business that can truly compete with the likes of AWS, GCP, and Azure. Then how do we do that? Number one, we keep driving aggressive revenue growth. If you check out the Explorer, you'll see the numbers are starting to go up. They're going to go up more, but we just have to keep undercutting those guys because we can offer compute for like 60-70% less. Number two is we have to maintain this enterprise grade service. We have to be able to meet or exceed their standards. Three is like really keeping involved in community on this to keep the cutting edge. And four is building a world-class team, and like I'm already talking to some pretty high-level recruiters, and they're like bringing us talent from like AWS, GCP, Lambda, RunPod. I mean, like, my background, although I've been in Web3 for 7 years, I've been in Web2 for a lot longer. I've been a VC, I've been a COO, I've been a CMO. Like, we're going to run this business right, and like, we're going to compete with the big boys. And I think when the market sees that, they're going to see something they've never seen. They're going to be like, wow, this is a Web3 project that like can go toe to toe with anyone in cloud.
Yep. It's like you're trying to build something solid that has foundations, right? Something with real tangible value, which is amazing to hear. So I really like the description of like a Web2 company with a token. I think it's really good. It fits it, right? So I think looking a little bit. So even though we're a Web2 company with a token, we still have a token, right? And we still have a token that we kind of want to take a little bit of care of, right? So regarding the tokenomics, where is the project headed? We talked a little bit about burning mechanisms earlier, but are there any other burning mechanisms that we're going to incorporate? Are we looking, well, we already kind of answered this, but buyback burn mechanisms. And if we have any kind of roadmap as to tokenomics or what we're going to do to improve them, how we're going to incorporate feedback, and so on.
Sure. So I think the first thing to note is like all crypto projects, the token sits at a different entity. It sits at the IOG Foundation. We have obviously we're going to burn. But the great thing is, and even though I say we're quote unquote a Web2 project with a token, at our core we are Web3, which means that, and we'll get into this in a second, but we're moving towards like decentralized governance. The community at the IOG Foundation can always recommend things. They can recommend changes to the emission schedule. They can recommend different ways to send out block rewards. And I think that's kind of where we're going. And actually, we are working with the community. We're working with some of our investors to always look at the tokenomics and basically like optimize those. But that's the great thing, right? The community, like as we're moving forward, the community will be able to make proposals on these things, and we will be able to implement them. And yeah, so I think it's always going to be evolving to optimize the tokenomics.
That's amazing to hear. I think the community is going to be very, very happy to hear what you just said. I think we mentioned it in previous AMAs also, right? That the community feedback is going to be taken into account, and it's also a really humbling experience to see such a big project saying, "Hey, listen, like we are always willing to optimize. We are always willing to listen and learn." And change things if they need to be changed, because sometimes like you build tokenomics and you just let them be and you just don't adapt to what's happening. But it's really good to hear that community is going to have a say. Of course, we've mentioned it before, but still, right? And so speaking about community, which you touched upon a little bit on your answer, and now that I'm also talking about community, this is something that's of interest to everybody, right? Everybody's been super, super curious about how exactly is the community going to play a role. We've been preparing a lot of things in the back end that you guys aren't seeing yet, but you will see soon. So please stay tuned for announcements, and please stay tuned for a lot of cool things to come. I can't like hype it enough, but yes, a lot of cool things to come. Um, so where do you see the project going in terms of community involvement and voting, Tori? Do you see it getting to some sort of like DAO system? Do you see it getting into a more like controlled community feedback system? How do you see IONET evolving in the Web3 space as a community project?
Yeah, the goal has always been to sort of the march to decentralization. Now, obviously, I think we believe that it's tough to start off decentralized. Like, the way to do it is to start off more centralized, and so you can get in there and move fast and get what you need to get done. But we've always envisioned moving towards progressive decentralization. Absolutely, yeah. We're aiming to set up a DAO, like a formalized DAO for the whole thing in several years. Even now, we're spinning up a grants DAO soon. We're sort of finalizing that. That will allow community members to vote on grants from the IOG Foundation. But in the long run, yeah, it's basically implementing DAOs, token-based voting systems, bringing the community in the short run. We also have several things that we're doing. We're working on a three-month technical roadmap, and as I've mentioned, we're going to release like this community letter soon, which really outlines the vision. We're going to start providing more and more updates, weekly updates to the community on what partnerships we're doing, what revenue we're doing. Quite frankly, what are some of our challenges are, so they can help. But we're also going to release a 3-month technical. We're going to start releasing technical roadmaps. As I mentioned, we're really striving to provide notice on changes. We're doing these AMAs. We're listening more. I think we may have already released this, but we have more formal issue tracking and resolution systems like the Balancer, and I think we also just initiated the astronaut program. But that's the thing, right? Like it's sort of a two-way street. Like we're moving to progressive decentralization, but like it's also on the community because we're doing that to sort of tell us what we want, and we're always gonna I mean, I think like if I had to sort of say like the the you'll see this in the State of the Union, but like community, like obviously we're focused on customers, but like community and customers and our tech platform are probably our three biggest focuses, because quite frankly the community is a competitive advantage, right? This is something that AWS does not have. Like they don't have people to get in there and sort of help them build a better network, and so the more feedback that you guys give to us, the better we can build this for you.
Yep, makes sense. I mean, feedback is always it's like constructive criticism, right? It points out the thing like certain weaknesses if there are any, and it allows you to build stronger and sturdier foundations, right? So yeah, as you mentioned, yes, we are working on a couple of channels for you guys on the community side. Just stay tuned for the announcements, but they're basically set, and they're gonna make the experience of submitting feedback really, really easy. So we're going to have a bot. You guys are going to be able to submit feedback or things that you would like to see changed, things that you would like to see, come to life. And then there's going to be another channel where you're kind of going to be seeing the progress of these tasks. Say, for example, the team sees a feedback and they think, oh, wow, this is amazing. Why not incorporate it? So you'll be able to visually see what tasks the team are doing or what feedback is going to be incorporated into product or into strategy or into vision or whatever. So this is really exciting for the community, guys. You guys have a chance of, submitting feedback or submitting things that you would like to see done, and actually having the chance to visualize what is being done with regards to what the community wants, right? Um, that's on the feedback side. And yes, we we launched the astronaut program. I think you guys already saw the astronaut roles and everything. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who is, congratulating all the astronauts and excited for the astronaut program to start. This is a really exciting period because we give the chance to the community to be part of like an exclusive group of people that can help out and actually really make a difference. So please be active. Right now, the way to get to astronaut is to be nominated. And you can be nominated by just really excelling, being really active, inviting people and new people into the Discord, and participating in activities, coming into the AMAs with some like great comments, and that stuff. So really exciting times ahead, guys. You can obviously tell that we are in a more community oriented phase and that we are trying to, as Tori mentioned, progress towards more decentralization. So really excited that we are all on this journey together. We have a lot of exciting things to come. As always, stay tuned for announcements and continue to support us as we continue to support our community. We love you guys. Thank you for being here. All right, so with that being said, we have reached the end of the questions and other things like that. And usually, what we do at the end of the AMAs, because we want to give also a chance of some of you guys' questions to be answered, is that I'm going to let you guys submit one very interesting question that you think you would love to ask to Tori or to the team, and then they are going to pick one that they really like that they would like to answer, and we're going to be rewarding that person with that question. So let's go for it, guys. Send your questions. Send your questions on the chat, and let's see which one has the best question. You guys are amazing, actually. In the previous AMA, there were some incredible questions, like really interesting topics of discussion. So show us what you got, guys. We got the first question. What trends in industry do you think will have the biggest influences on IONET's future development? Really interesting. Decentralized GPUs require enterprise-grade GPUs. Do you still use commercial ones? Also interesting. Thinking about providing hosting with a token. Tori, if you see anyone that sparks your curiosity or that you think would be really cool to answer, feel
Yeah,
free to just go for it.
what trends in the industry do you think will have the biggest influence on INS? Great question. Some of the things we've sort of been seeing is that, and actually this also ties into like the commercial GPUs. Tech evolves. It's cliche, but tech evolves very, very quickly, right? And people figure out how to do things they couldn't do before. When you look at sort of our model right now, most of our business is inferencing, right? Because it's you can basically match. A decentralized network can match or exceed even the performance of a centralized network with inferencing, because we can effectively act as a de facto CDN at times. But one thing you're seeing is like decentralized training is generally worse than centralized training. Um, Now that said, there are a lot of projects out there working on decentralized training, and so that to the extent that that technology gets better, that would be like really, really cool. Now I don't think it would move the needle that much because inferencing is actually like 80 to 90% of machine learning revenue. So it would just be it would be a little bit extra. The other thing is, I have always seen a march to, right now, like, yes, most AI workloads are done on enterprise cards. Um, I am confident that over time, like consumer cards and even mobile cards will continue to get better to the point where they can probably handle a lot of these workloads. And so, I could definitely see a world. I don't know. I can't predict the future. I don't know if that's in 6 months, 3 years, 10 years. That we start to utilize a lot more consumer cards, and even a world, and I mentioned this before, and maybe this is a dream, but where people can add mobile devices. I mean, imagine like having billions of devices that could join a DPIN. We just don't know where the world is going there, but we do know that like every hell, not even every year, every couple of months, these cards get better and better and better. The other thing too is I think the core reason we're focused on AI is AI is obviously a very big it's a very big use case. It's probably the biggest use case for GPUs, but you know, like it's not the only use case. And we're being very disciplined and really just doing AI. But as we grow as a DPIN, there are just so many different areas that we could potentially service. I mean, we could do gaming, we could do rendering. Like hell, there's a big demand for GPUs and zero knowledge. So I think as more and more use cases, I think I read somewhere that like the metaverse is going to require like tens of thousands of times more computing power. So like who knows when that comes? I mean, we want to have the GPUs for that. The other thing too is I think one of my really long-term visions is when you look at the problems of centralized providers, like if you look at AI in general, there are basically like three key ingredients to make AI. Number one, obviously, you need compute. Two, you need the models, and three, you need the data. Now, if you look at a company like Google, they have all three of these right now, right? Like they own all the data. They have all the money, so they can hire the best machine learning engineers, and they can use this money to buy, more and more GPUs. And this creates a vicious cycle because they keep making better AI, and they keep, just like those three things just keep going up. I think that's a problem for everyone because as we've seen, like there's some pretty big censorship problems in a lot of these AI, and like I don't know about you guys, but I don't want Google or Amazon like controlling AI and controlling my data. And so I think the direction that at least decentralized AI goes is to sort of decentralize all three of those components. Now, IONET is obviously starting with decentralizing compute, but we have plans already to start looking into like decentralizing some of the models. Think like a decentralized Hugging Face. And then eventually, it's not too far of a leap for us to decentralize the data as well. And so, if you get that, you really get to this vision where, effectively, like IONET could be like a one-stop shop for decentralized AI, with the IO coin being the currency of choice.
Nice. Love that answer, Tori. Amazing. I hope that answered your question, which it probably did. And congratulations again on your question being picked. I don't want to extend too much these AMAs, guys. I think when you study psychology and you see the attention span of the average human being, 30 minutes is usually cutting it a little bit long. But guys, yeah. Thank you so much for participating. I see a lot of questions about XP systems and stuff like that. Stay tuned. We're working a little bit on the actual project, like defining it so that it's really clear for you guys to just read an announcement or read a text and know how it works. And there's some automation to it and everything. So stay tuned for that. But guys, if you have any questions, I see a lot of questions on the channel, and it hasn't been answered on this AMA. Don't despair, please. Always feel free to ping me or ping admin or ping someone from the team, moderators, astronauts. They're always willing to help. And if you think, okay, no, I need my question answered by the team, we have these weekly question forms that you guys can fill in. And we usually pick the most frequently asked questions or like some interesting questions, and we answer them in the weekly AMAs. So always remember that if your question was not addressed in this AMA, you will always have the next AMA to ask it. And if it's really urgent, then there's always someone willing to help. So thank you guys. And see you in the next AMA. And also, don't forget to join the AMA. I think it's happening in a couple of hours that we have with Solana, right? There we go with Binance. Exciting times, guys. Go ahead and join that one too. It should be really interesting. And that's it, guys. Take care. Take it easy. It was lovely having you over here. It was lovely seeing all of you being active in the community. And we look forward to organizing some cool AMAs and maybe inviting some YouTubers or some cool people. So stay tuned, stay tuned. We're always working in the background. See you guys and take care.